Welcome to the Heart of Giving. This program is devoted to the nonprofits in the city of Long Beach, the groups that work on so many things in our community that make our community better. Today we have a foundation. The foundation is one that's very important to our city in a different way. We're so pleased to have Sarah Myers here with us today, who is the director or CEO of the Long Beach Library Foundation. Now, that has been in town, I know, since 1996 because I was involved then.
Yes.
But it has grown to be something that is so useful and so necessary for our city because, you know, Long Beach is not alone. Many times when cities have to cut back, they say, well, we can cut back on this, and it's usually recreation or libraries. I mean,
Yes.
It seems to be all the time. But we've kept ours alive, our library alive, and I'm so proud of the city for that. But I know that the foundation has had a lot to do with that because they've provided things that the library wasn't able to provide. So I'm going to throw the whole thing to you and tell me about you. Did you come to Long Beach for this job, or were you here?
I did. I came to Long Beach for this job. I grew up in Torrance, and prior to working in the nonprofit industry, I actually worked for ExxonMobil. So I saw the corporate side and was on the giving side, but I always had a heart for nonprofits. So I was really pleased to come to Long Beach and take this position in, it's about 7 years ago. This is my 7th year.
Is that
already,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't have known
Time
that.
flies.
My goodness. So what is the mission of the Long Beach
Library Foundation? Yeah, the mission really is to support the library and especially the education and literacy programs, and to encourage education and literacy for all members of the community. And we primarily, as you know, do that through our family learning centers. It's a space in every library, and we have 12 in Long Beach, that is there for equal access to serve families on whatever their educational or aspirations are, and they can come in and get resources, do job and resume assistance, learn the English language, homework, anything they need, and then most important, equal and free access to the technology that many of us take for granted.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I remember when they started, and the people that donated to open one here, and then other people donated to open one here, and
Yes.
so that it was the city of Long Beach, the people, that really put those learning centers in place.
Absolutely.
And they're in every library?
And they still are today, and we're starting to change a little bit and evolve into the Family Learning Center of the future. So there's several exciting projects about how we might have more access to digital labs. There's going to be a Family Learning Center of the future, how we can serve veterans, and we're expanding to all different populations and segments of the community.
And are these learning centers filled with people that are interested in?
Yes.
Is that right?
A lot of people are wondering, well, who uses the library these days? And I'm proud to tell you that we had 1.3 million visitations to our library system in Long Beach last year, and probably about 46,000 visitations to the Family Learning Centers.
Is
So
that right?
there's just so many families that don't have that internet and computer access.
Well,
and if you can
absolutely.
imagine everything you need to do on a computer, the library is still that access to those tools.
And if somebody comes in there and doesn't even know how to punch the button, you have somebody that helps them?
Absolutely. The librarians are there to help people navigate all of this information, all of these new devices. We have workers, for example, who might be applying for a job at one of the hotels, and they won't use a computer in that position, but they have to apply online. And they arrive at the library having never used a mouse. So it's a lot of access to that, and people come in asking every question under the sun, from taxes to health issues to bullying to 12-step programs. Wherever they are on their journey in life, they need someone who treats them with respect and compassion and can help answer their questions and point them in the right direction.
And do children use them for their homework?
They do. Yes, they really do. A lot of children, teachers now have assignments that are due on a computer, whether you have a computer or not. And then a lot of children need help navigating the internet. You know, you can find Christopher Columbus, when he sailed the ocean blue, on 3 different websites. There's as many different answers as there are websites. So who helps you navigate and tells you what's true and what's not and how to figure out what to trust. And the librarians are still experts at that.
This is an off-the-subject question, but do the children know how to do the computer more than the parents?
Some do. We have something called an awe station for very young children, 3 years old, colorful keys and headphones, and I've never seen those stations empty when I give tours and look at those. So those children really are, they're learning to scroll and use those like never before, which is great.
Well, there was a story about a very well-known man who had his grandson teach him how to do the computer, and this man had led things in the world.
Yeah.
And his grandson was telling him how to work his computer so that he could get it done, because, you know, it's a generational thing.
It's a real need. So. Right now we're launching, we do have ebooks, and you can check them out on any device, a Kindle, a Nook, an iPad, but people need assistance with how do you use those devices, and many people don't even realize that service is already available.
Now, in addition to that, what are the normal services, the former normal services of the library?
The library, what we're looking at is people sort of think of a library as a traditional warehouse for print books, and I think that's the perception among many people. So they're concerned about how is this still relevant today, but I can tell you the story is just emerging. So we have, for example, places where people come where they're trying to just have a quiet space, for example, in this time of digital and noise and advertising. It's still a place that respects you, your individuality, and your work, and you can come in and be respected for that. So a quiet space. Children's story times are still very popular. We're now expanding to help families with autism. Many of the parents are frustrated because it's hard to take their child out into the community. If they have a meltdown and they're in a restaurant, they never get to go to the movies. So we actually have a film series for families with autism, and they can come in, they leave the lights on, the music and the sound is a little lower, and they're there with like-minded families, and they can have special snacks for dietary needs, and it's growing in popularity. We've been doing it about once a month. So it's rethinking about the library just for books and more of a community space where people come together with their needs and learn together.
And one of the things that I remember that was started years ago was the section of the library for those that couldn't reach high to get the books.
Yes.
They had to have access for the wheelchairs.
Yes. Our information center for people with disabilities, award-winning, and it just moved upstairs for even easier access.
Oh, that's better.
So we've opened a whole area, a brand new paint and a window, and it's with all the other computers in a central area, and it helped for exits in case of an emergency, to have all of those people. And it's actually used by, the taught by volunteers. So volunteers with physical disabilities themselves help in a peer-to-peer relation.
That's wonderful,
Yeah.
because I remember that there was a section of, the thing with the handle at the bottom and the holders at the top, so that they would get the books down from the library, because they couldn't work on it otherwise.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's an award-winning?
Yes.
Oh, I loved
and
hearing
it's
that.
Expanding to help our veterans. We have so many veterans returning from Afghanistan, and there's actually a statistic that about 88% of them returning to school will drop out, because in the military it's very regimented, but now they're coming back to Long Beach and trying to figure out what is that next step. And so we've launched a project called Coming Home Long Beach to help centralize all the online resources, and then invite them in if they're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, anything like that. The veterans the resources can be very overwhelming and hard to navigate. So again, the library is doing what it does best and just helping be that friendly, open environment where we can help you navigate.
Well, when people think of libraries, they think of books, librarians, and quiet. And we've emerged a long ways from that.
Yeah.
But they still need to have some books.
Yes.
And I know that we went through a time years ago about where the library had no money to buy books.
Yes.
And the foundation came forward.
Yes, the books and materials budget has been cut by over 50%, and it's really up to estate gifts and corporate gifts and a lot of gifts through the foundation. Since our inception, we've raised over $15 million for the library, and it's really to help those enrichment services. It doesn't replace what the city does, it enriches what the city does, and we've been able to really try to help with their books and materials, but it still suffers.
And they also have a digital library with the books.
Yes, so those are those ebooks that I was mentioning. You can download them, and once you're done reading them on whatever device, it actually deletes itself off the device, returns virtually to the library with no fines anymore.
Oh, right.
So a lot of people don't realize this is already there. It's an app. You can even read a book on your smartphone. You can access Mango Languages and learn over 13 different languages from whatever smart pad or laptop. And what we're finding is this isn't replacing print books. Print books, the usage is still on the rise. However, we're bringing a different segment and increasing the usage. So people who haven't been back to a library in a while are coming back, and so ebooks are rising as well.
Also with finding out about Christopher Columbus.
Yes.
You can go and check in, and it's already there.
Yeah.
All the information you need to know.
Exactly.
So,
and you know you can trust those citations, and you
Absolutely.
can go back to the original source. And for researchers and students, this is really important. You can't just trust what you find on Wikipedia.
That's right. Well, I am so pleased that you're here and telling us about this very important. So, do you use volunteers?
We do. I'm excited. We're just involved with the campaign for grade level reading, and it's a great opportunity for volunteers to get involved and read to
Reading
kids.
with children.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Oh, thank you, Sarah.
Thank
This
you
was
for
great.
having us.
And thank you all for watching. What a great show. This is really informative, and so please come back. We have another segment.